Credit repair became available in 1996 under President Clinton. What you're seeing now is what the United States Congress says about credit repair in the act they wrote in 1996 called the Credit Repair Service Organizational Act. This act was written to give consumers a second chance. In the act, it says here, consumers have a vital interest in establishing and maintaining their credit worthiness and credit standing in order to obtain and use credit. As a result, consumers who have experienced credit problems may seek assistance from credit repair organizations which offer to improve the credit standing of such consumers. So folks, what we do to assist you in the credit repair process is we actually do this legally by using the laws that govern credit reporting agencies, debt collection companies, and creditors. We use the federal and state law versions. The first set of laws is called the Fair and Accurate Credit Reporting Act, which governs credit reporting agencies. Then you have the Fair Debt Collection Act that governs all collection agencies. And then you have the Fair Billing Act that governs everybody that mails a bill through the mail. And then you have state protections. Experts say that 90% of these laws are broken, which has caused over 80% of people to have problems with their credit, insurance, renting cars, getting jobs, and the list goes on and on and on. So what we do, unlike most credit repair companies in the nation, is we go to the source, not just the credit reporting agency. We attack creditors, debt collectors, and the credit reporting agency. But we do this legally, getting the things erased from all three. So let's say hypothetically a collection agency sends you an item and says that we apologize and we're removing this from your credit report. The credit reporting agency has to actually send you an update. So the next thing I'm going to show you is what results you'll receive within 30 to 45 days as you're going through the credit repair process. These next examples are 30-day intervals. The only thing you're not going to see is people's personal information. So let's get started and let's look at some of these examples. In these first examples, these are going to be Experian credit reports, and they're Experian from Allen, Texas. In this first example here, you can see I got 13 things altogether we were working on, and we got 8 of those things erased the first month, including some of the things you would think wouldn't come off a credit report. That first item on the top there is a bankruptcy, United States Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Then you also have a repossessed car, a foreclosed house, and you got child support and arrears. Some of the things on here say remains, reviewed, updated, means that we're still working on it. Doesn't mean it can't come off, but it just means it hadn't came off yet. In the second example here, what you're going to see here is you're going to see 4 out of 4 items again also deleted in the first 30 days. That top item is an unpaid judgment, a bank, and 2 collections. All 3 deleted in the first month. And then the last example here, you're going to see again 4 out of 4 deleted from the credit report. Now when it says deleted, it means it has been completely erased from the credit report and it'll never show back up again. Once something's erased, it cannot come back in your credit report. Now let me stop here for a second. A lot of times people ask me, well, what happens if I just pay off all these items? If you pay them off, understand a couple things are going to happen to you. If an item is already 2 or 3 or 4 years old and you pay it, it will reactivate what they call the date of last activity. So when you pay off a negative entry, it actually makes it stay 7 additional years on your credit report. The second thing is, because you have bad credit today, it's of course going to drop your credit score hundreds of points. So first thing is it's going to stay 7 more years. Second thing is it's going to cost you hundreds of points in credit score sometimes. And the third thing, you paid to do that. So it doesn't really make sense. While removing it doesn't pay it off, paying it off doesn't remove it. So you want to, have straight in your mind that if you leave here today and you pay off a collection, it's not going to come off your credit report because you paid it. And if you pay it, it doesn't come off your credit report. So one has nothing to do with the other one. That doesn't mean if you've already paid a whole bunch of items off that it affects what we do. We're just trying to give you some free advice. Let's look now to the TransUnion credit report. Now let's look at TransUnion. TransUnion is from Chester, Pennsylvania, or Fullerton, California. In this example here, you see we got everything deleted on this credit report, including 3 child supports. Those child supports were in arrears. Now it doesn't mean the guy is not paying his child support. He does pay his child support, but it's not reporting to his credit bureau. In this next example, you're going to see here that we got federal and state tax liens erased off this guy's credit report. Those are again all done in 30-day intervals. Again, once they are erased off the credit report, you don't see them report to the credit bureau anymore, so nobody can see that the items ever existed. This was also done legally, getting it erased, and it's important that you understand legally means I'm not a computer hacker, we're not computer hackers. What we're doing is we're actually getting the source, the person that put on your credit report, to remove it from your credit report. And then let's look at the Equifax examples in the state of Louisiana. Equifax is the most important credit report you will have pulled here. If you're buying cars, trucks, guns, boats, it's actually the only report that they'll look at. So let's look at some of these Equifaxes. In this first Equifax updated credit report, you'll see that we were working on actually 9 things there, and in those 9 things, the bottom 7 that we got erased the first 30 days were all student loans. The top shows me that I have 2 or more items to work on this person's credit report. It's very important that you understand these updates don't come to us, they come to you, the consumer. So it's important that you forward these updates to us. They come every 30 to 45 days, and they tell us what the next step of the credit report is. In the next example here, you see we had 5 things we were working on. We got 4 of them deleted the very first month. So 4 out of 5 deleted means we have 1 more item left to work on. And these updates will come in every 30 to 45 days. They're not coming from us. They're coming from the credit bureaus and going to you, and it's your job to get those to us by email, mail, fax, whatever way you got to get them to us. Now let's look at some credit scores. The most important thing in this whole process is that you have a high credit score. So let's look at some credit scores now. In this first example, you can see the person started with a 522 credit score, extremely low, but 2 months later that person's credit score rose to a 586, still too low to do anything. But 2 months from there, a total of 4 months, the credit score went to a 723 credit score. The average score in Louisiana is a 644. So in the 700s is pretty much going to get whatever they want. Let's look at this next score. In the next example, the credit score started off at a 536 credit score. 2 months from there, it moved up to a 550, and then 2 months from there, moved up to a 654. Now if you're trying to buy a motorcycle, boat, SUV, Sea-Doo, RV, or do financing in the bank, your minimum score needs to be a 650, which means if you're a 649, you're 1 point off. Don't waste your time. You should always find out what your credit score is first, then go to the lender and see if you qualify for it. Let's look at this last example now. This person started off with a 594 credit score, not that far off, but then 4 months later moved completely up to a 747 credit score. Now these examples were only an average of 2 to 4 months, so it's not an overnight process, but it's not a whole heck of a long time. What you don't see with these credit scores is our other part of the program, which our other part of the program is about adding the right positive credit to your credit report. So while we're removing items off these people's credit reports, they're also replacing those items with lenders that we suggest and we assist you in putting on your credit report, like Whitney, Tesh, Keypoint, Capital One, Orchard, Household, Regions Bank. So we add those kind of items. Even if you have the worst credit in the world today, we're able to do that. The outcome is that you want to have a high credit score, you want to have no debt, and you want to be able to control your credit score. And so I'm going to show you an example here of my own credit score, and then I'm going to show you the after, showing you what I could do with my credit score having no debt on my credit report. Let's look at that now. In this first example, you can see my credit score is a 706 on February 25th. So what I did was I pulled it February 25th. I see it's a 706. Then I changed the way I used my credit, and you see here in the second example, on March 23rd, that's 27 days later, I made my own credit score increase 91 points. We provide our customers with this sort of information. Not only do I get negative things off and teach you how to build credit, but I also assist you in learning how I manipulated my own credit score. I think it's really important that people understand this about credit score. 91 points is an improvement in a 27-day span that's unheard of. So it shows that I know something about the scoring system, and what our company can do for clients is unmatched by any other company in the state of Louisiana. We are the most experienced credit repair company in Louisiana, with the closest thing to us being 1 year in business. We've been now, this year will be our 15th